Well, there's Michele Garza. Normally I do this big introduction, I bring you on, but here you are. And so, Michelle, what's so cool is we've never met. We
Correct.
only had a phone call together. I'm going to do something different. Those of you that normally watch me, and I'm about to share my screen, and I'm going to bring her live TikTok on because she's on TikTok as well. So bear with us so you can get the full experience. So let me share my screen. Let me get a window. And I believe you're right there. Here. There you go. All righty. Are we all in?
Okay, there it is.
There she is. So that you're
We
watching
are.
her on TikTok, but she's also here. So she's live on too. So she may get weirded out in a little bit. So I have to say this. There's a lady named Kelsey Thibodeau. She's this wonderful assistant principal in Port Neches. And I'm sorry, at Groves Elementary. And so Kelsey tagged me in your book. She was like, look, she knows I love a good heartstring puller, and she knows I love books, and she knows I love kids. So she tags me. And I'm like, oh my God, I will never get in touch with this lady because she has 1 million and something followers. And I listen to
No.
your story, but I don't read the book until the night of. So a little backstory for those that are just joining us. And remember, I said I'd have a queue, and I told you Ava, Ari, and Pop Pop, they show up every week. So hello, how are y'all?
Hey guys.
So tell us without giving the book away, what inspired, and oh, Mr. Pancho, you probably will cry tonight. We have Jeanette Miranda. Hello. So tell me, I know what inspired you to write the book, but tell me what inspired you to write the book without giving too much away.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So it's about a family tradition. It's a true story about a lesson in empathy and a gift bag exchange gone wrong. But it boils back to, even though this was a tradition in my family, it wasn't until I was actually in college. I was in a remedial writing class. I've always been a storyteller, but I had a hard time putting my thoughts on paper, like slowing down and really writing things out. And I had a professor in this class that asked us to write about a material possession, which in this case are these little ducks, that taught us a life lesson. And I immediately thought of it, and I wrote it kind of as a little story. And over time it developed. And I started sharing it with friends and family, and it just became more and more popular. And then with the help of social media, I was able to self-publish it into the story that it is today.
Cool. I'm sorry, my husband started talking. I told him, no. Sorry, I had to fuss. So I have another, the Baldwin bunch. So the Baldwin family, they have a set of twins, a girl and a boy. And the daughter, Chloe, was on to actually read her book. And so she has her three listening. She has a son. He loves the Texas Rangers a lot, a whole lot. Kinsler is his name. Kinsler, Chloe, and oh, my favorite Baldwin. That's what I call the oldest, the favorite Baldwin. So, your inspiration for your book. Now, how long did it take you to write your book? Because what happened to you happened as a child, right? So,
Yeah.
how long did it take you to write the book?
So it actually started as a one-page response. It was just like literally words on the paper for this little assignment. And I actually was dating somebody who read it, who said, I love this. And then it kind of transpired into this whole thing because I was in school to be a teacher. He said, I think you're a writer. He bought me writing classes. I ended up changing my major at school to be a writer. I started taking writing classes. And then I had professors in community that were like, maybe you should keep on with this writing thing, which was very encouraging because I loved it. But again, growing up, I didn't have great spelling and grammar. I couldn't slow down and put myself on paper. And I really thought that was the only way to be a writer. So I thought I'm going to be a failure. Like I'm never going to be able to do this. And so, and it's something that I really want to talk about as this book transpires with other people, with kids, about how there's editors and other people that can help bring your story to life. So anyway, I ended up changing my major, and later in college, I was in a class a little bit more advanced where the assignment was to take an old piece of writing that was short and burrow it. So that was about really coming in and getting the details and really bringing the story to life. And the assignment was to turn it into an essay. And so I turned it into a 10-page personal essay that was then workshopped by my peers, but it resonated with people. I mean, people cried in the classroom and people asked me about it. And so it's just kind of been that, which I've shared with friends and family. I mean, it really is the story it was, 15 years ago. And then it wasn't until some people had asked me, maybe you should put illustrations to it and turn it into a children's book. But transparently, it's pretty long. It's longer than an average text, and some publishers didn't want to touch it because of that. And I was kind of married to the link. So that's how I ended up in the self-publishing journey. And with my help of social media, TikTok literally changed my whole life by getting behind me and funding it, and we used a crowdfunding source, and people said, I'll, get behind you and help you fund this. And that's kind of how the whole thing happened just a year ago.
I absolutely love that story because there are so many people that are trying to go viral on Facebook, and there's horror stories on social media, and there's horror stories, but yours is the exception. It really went well for you. And so there are a lot of kids that are doing things and they're going to watch this later. They may be watching it now. What advice would you give them for being viral, and adults as well?
Yeah, so it's really interesting to me. I'm not really present on a lot of other social medias. My things are private. So I've never really shared things publicly. I mean, if I'll meet you out in public, I'll tell you my life story. Like customer service representatives, I have to remind myself, like, don't tell them your life story. Don't tell them your life story. But in terms of social media, I've been pretty buttoned up. And I was a nanny in New York City, and my nanny kids weren't really allowed to have social media. And so, you hear and read things. But what's interesting is that nobody really prepares you for it. And it can be exciting and addicting in a way. And it's so weird. And I say this, it's hard to explain. But for me, I love sharing my story and I love connecting with people. But it isn't about numbers for me. But I can totally see how if you could have something that does really well socially and then you don't. And it is kind of like this, well, how do I get back? Even last year, I have a friend that doesn't share at all and she doesn't really care. And she did me a favor and did a duet of one of my videos of the Ruth Ducks to try to help me get it funded, like just to help boost it. And she said, I got to tell you, I don't care about social media. I don't create social media, but oh my goodness, it was so exciting. And then those numbers stopped. And it gave me a feeling I wasn't prepared for. So I think what's interesting for people of all ages, but especially kids that you're developing and you're still trying to navigate the world and how influential it can be, it is super challenging. And I know that in my own world, I don't look forward to the day where I have a 5-year-old where she wants to get on it. But I think if that's the path you choose, you can look at any big influencer, viral person. They also have their lulls. And the people who are really big and consistently big, not everybody, but a lot of them, there's a team behind them, even when it doesn't look like there's a team behind them. And they're paying for some of that. And so it's never exactly what you think it is. And I think it's really important for kids to really understand that. It's not, even if it looks like somebody just sitting there on their own, there's a really good chance that it's not, and just, I don't know. It's a crazy world out there. It really is. I don't really recommend it to anybody. And I know that's like contradicting what I'm doing, but I don't know. I don't think that it's for everybody.
I agree with that. But Mr. Poncho said, wonderful story already. And he says, can we keep the tears for next year's? I hope we can. And Mr. Joshua Dickerson, I don't know if you remember me talking about him, but he's the guy that wrote I Ain't Got a Pencil, that poem. And he was like,
Yes.
yeah, I heard that story. That's Mr. Joshua Dickerson. And so he's here.
Yeah.
So let's get into your book. And so I have to tell them the backstory. So when I got she told me the book will be here. The book's not here, but we always have, blessings in the midst. And she had given me a PDF code earlier, a PDF form. And I was like, nope, don't want to read it before. So I'll be reading from my PDF and she will show you the pictures. Okay. So we're going to try to make this happen. I'm going to stop sharing her TikTok and I'm going to share the PDF screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, not that tab. This tab. All right, here we go. Roots Ducks. We're ready? So we have Roots Ducks that we're reading tonight. And it is by the person that you see here, Michele Garza. And the author, the illustrator is Biva Win. Is it Biva?
Yeah, Viva Win. Yep.
Oh, I feel so smart. And edited by Lisa Deshay.
Yes.
Oh man,
She's
Belinda gets
actually
it.
a TikTok follower of mine. And after
Oh
the
well,
first edition, she reached out and said, if you ever want a little bit of here and there. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And there's there's a typo in the book in the second edition that is not her fault. It was actually when the got transferred, it's not even a letter, it's a symbol, but that's a story for another time.
but that's okay. Remember, we talked about it's okay to make mistakes. So
Yeah.
we're reading this book with Michele Garza's permission. And those of you that are watching or will watch in the future, please do not read her books online. Purchase her books. And if you're going to read them online, contact her because it is copyrighted and it's only fair. All righty. So this book is dedicated to Ruth, wherever you are, my mom for saving the ducks, and Harper, everything is for you. In memory of David, is it Valancourt?
Yes, it is.
I am on it tonight.
All right,
So
let's
let's see. Here we go. Michele, just pick something, anything, my mom mumbled in the toy aisle. She was trying not to sound frustrated. I will, but I want it to be really good, I whined, followed with a closed mouth smile to highlight my dimples, something I knew she found irresistible. Fine, but please hurry. Choosing this around $10 gender neutral grab bag gift was more pressure than my 8-year-old decision making skills could handle. I combed the aisle, examining the prices. I finally decided on a Lisa Frank art set, explaining to her that I would trade what I received if someone picked the art kit and didn't want it. My mom, eager to get home and make dinner, reluctantly agreed. Sounds like you got a good deal so far. And look at your cute illustration. All right, let me go up a little bit. It was my first semester at a weekly Bible study for kids. We met on Wednesdays in the basement of a local church where they divided us into age groups. Aside from religion, the program also included music and gym class. I started this program halfway through the school year, and though I had not made any friends yet, everyone was warming to me quickly. For the last class before Christmas break, we were instructed to bring a wrap gift worth $10 for a grab bag exchange. I knew the art set would be a hit because the week before at school, my entire table in the lunchroom said that they had put Lisa Frank on their Christmas list. That Wednesday night, all anyone wanted to talk about was the gift exchange. I made the conscious effort to talk my gift down. We were unsure of how the exchange would work, and I didn't want anyone to know what I had brought, just in case there was a chance I could pick up my own gift. I could pick my own gift. I didn't even know what mine is. My mom picked it and then wrapped it. I told the kid next to me, it's probably pretty lame. Well, that's so kid alike of you, Michele. After the opening ceremony of songs, my age group had gym. This was the only week when it went by too slowly. I couldn't focus on anything but the anticipation of bringing home a new toy to show off to my siblings. Gym was followed by snacks and Bible study. We spend the second half of our Bible time on the grab bag exchange. When we arrived at our classroom, our teacher, Miss Elizabeth, was waiting for us. I liked her. It was hard not to. Her voice was soft and her eyes were warm. She had long brown hair with little strands of gray that peeked through. She always wore long skirts that came just above the top of her sneakers, allowing her socks to show. Her sweatshirts had iron-on Bible character patches that were outlined with puffy paint. She instructed us to put our gifts on the table in front of the classroom and then sit down. My assigned seat was in the last row. We all stared intently as Miss Elizabeth put numbered sticky notes on each gift. She then held up an elf's hat and said that it was time to begin the grab bag. I'm going to bring this elf hat around the room. It's filled with pieces of paper that have numbers on them. You will each pick one. Then, in order from the lowest number to the highest, I will call you to the table and I will give you the gift that has the same number. Then Miss Elizabeth told us, do not open your gift until everyone has gone, and I have told you it is okay. Oh, the intensity she's building. Oh, I picked the number 3. So I didn't have to wait long for my turn. I approached the table with nervous excitement, my number smudged from the moisture of my hands. I handed my paper to Miss Elizabeth without saying a word. She picked up a gift, which was not the one that I brought, but equal in size. She pulled the sticky note off of it and handed it to me. Overwhelmed with excitement and curiosity, I spun around. Walking back down the aisle, I felt all eyes on me. While Miss Elizabeth called out the next number, everyone in my class sat up straight and stretched their necks to see what I had gotten. I took my seat with a good feeling. Christmas, the holiday of giving, was officially upon us. When the last gift had been claimed, the teacher said, "Oh no, Ruth has gotten her own gift. Will someone please exchange with her?" I looked over at a girl holding a box that was twice the size of mine. It had a large green bow, not the stick on kind, but one made from real ribbon wrapped vertically and horizontally and tied neatly in the center. I stared down at my tiny package with dull Santas on the wrapping and cheap curl ribbon taped on the top. I greedily decided I needed to have what Ruth was holding. My hand shot up in the air, and with a smile that showed all my teeth, I shouted, "I'll exchange with her." I hope no one would challenge my offer. The class grew quiet. Miss Elizabeth smiled and nodded, and I walked over to Ruth and held out my gift with a smirk of victory. Michelle, that's nice of you, but that's Rebecca, not Ruth. Miss Elizabeth whispered in my direction. I looked over my shoulder and saw another girl standing in front of the class. She was Ruth. Ruth's clothing was too large for her small frame. Her white clothes were yellowed, the blacks were grayed, and the foul sneakers on her feet must have once belonged to her older brother. She was holding a ball of newspaper. Then I remembered Ruth was the homeschool girl who kept to herself. I stood there wishing I could take back my offer. The class filled with giggles as I felt my body get warmer. Ruth practically skipped to me and held out her ball of newspaper. I tried not to cry as I handed over the Santas, who didn't seem that dull after all. I went to the back of the room and sat in my chair once again. Miss Elizabeth gave us the okay to open our gifts. I unwrapped the ball of paper and found two tiny wax ducks connected with a short wick. The white ducks had yellow beaks and blue bows tied around their necks. Everyone moved around the room showing off their gifts. I looked over at Ruth. She was hugging what she had opened when someone said, "Ruth, we got the same thing. Lisa Frank." My body went from warm to hot as I held back my tears. In the parking lot, I buried my face inside my coat while waiting for our blue station wagon to arrive. The other kids were showing one another the awesomeness they got to take home. The adults wished the teachers happy holidays and talked about vacation plans. I heard our car entering the parking lot. Ours was the one that had the loud engine and a muffler that dragged on the pavement when it hit a sudden incline. My mom always had a smile on her face when she picked me up. The size of her smile was bigger when she was running late. I got in the front seat and slammed the door. I burst into tears. Lost my spot. I burst into tears holding out Ruth's ducks. There is no way these were $10, right, Mom? What is that? My grab bag. The homeschool girl brought it. Michelle, I think that is probably something she had at home already. What? That's so not fair, I said, beating my head against the back of the seat. So easy to read, too, Michelle. On the way home, my mom explained that Ruth had a large family, that they may not have been able to purchase a new gift for every child in their family to participate in the grab bag. She also told me that Ruth may not receive many things for Christmas, and it was wonderful she got something so special. I still thought it was unfair. When we arrived home, I threw the ducks in the trash and stumped to my room. Shortly after, my mom called me downstairs. She was holding the ducks. "I'm disappointed in you. We may not have as much as some of the kids, but we have plenty. These ducks will be our reminder that some people have less than us and be thankful for what we do have." She placed the ducks over a branch on our Christmas tree as an ornament and said, "Michelle, you may not get it today, but one day you will understand." The next year, while our family was unpacking our Christmas decorations, Mom came across Ruth's ducks and asked if I would like to hang them up. "Toss them out," I whined. My mom shook her head with disappointment. "Okay, Not this year, but one day you will understand. Hanging roots ducks became a holiday tradition that I didn't participate in. Shortly after Thanksgiving, my family would gather around our plastic tree fresh from our attic and open our Christmas decoration boxes. When the ducks came out, my mom would always ask me if I would like to hang them up, and every year I said no. Whenever I saw the ducks, I would move them to the back of the tree, even though they always managed to make their way to the front and center again. I would also refuse to acknowledge them when my mom would tell guests how they came into our lives. I hated those dumb ducks. Then, a few years later, my paternal grandmother, my abuela, passed away. She wasn't the first person I had lost. When I was four, my best family, who had lost several members, my my best friend was an elderly neighbor who did make it to my fifth birthday. My family had lost several members, mostly grand and great grandparents, while I was in elementary school. I had a particularly hard time with my abuela's passing because I knew how much my dad had depended on her after my parents' divorce. My dad and abuela helped support one another emotionally and financially and worried about what he would do to make ends meet. My dad moved from his house to an apartment. He worked two jobs and always had car issues. His muffler didn't drag, it roared. Despite his losses, he always stayed positive and focused on the things we did have. The same year, my mom worked two jobs to make ends meet. At the time, it didn't seem like a big deal. Our neighbor Shirley took us to and from school with her kids. We would see our mom between her jobs when we got home in the afternoon. We never did without. Our mom was made sure we had everything we needed and wanted within reason. Oftentimes, this meant she was the one who did without. That Thanksgiving, my siblings and I were called into the living room for a family meeting. Our mom looked upset, but she was forcing a smile. Money is a little tight this year. We're still going to exchange gifts, but there will not be as much as you're used to. And everything may not be brand new. You're all getting older and need to remember what Christmas is really all about. Our mom waited for our reactions. She must have heard us looking through the Toys R Us catalog because making our Christmas list. Big list. I thought about how my mom was already working and there wasn't money for gifts. She looked worried. My heart sank. Nothing mattered more to me in that moment than wanting to explain to her what I really loved about the holiday season. What I really loved about Christmas Day was that my little sister came to our house. We were allowed to eat whatever we wanted, anything at all. One year, the three of us kids had a challenge to see who could eat the most Hershey kisses. We all got stomach aches and spent the rest of the night fighting over the bathroom. Lesson learned. What I really loved was that we were together as a family. We played games and made home movies. Normally, my brother was the camera guy, while my sister and I pranced around trying to see who could get more camera time. No one had to go to work or school or a friend's house. What I really loved, no one had to go to school, work or school, or a friend's house. What I really loved was that we went sledding in our hilly yard, and every time the phone rang, someone wanted to talk to us kids. What I really loved is when we watched The Christmas Story, which was extra special to us because it takes place in our hometown. That's a neat fact. We even went to Warren G. Harding Elementary. Well, Flick gets his tongue stuck to the flagpole. Oh my God, the excitement. I'm trying to control myself. This is one of my favorite movies. How lucky are you? What I really loved about Christmas Eve, which we normally spent with my dad, was making hundreds of tamales with his side of the family. It was a long standing family tradition, and everyone was required to help. I was in charge of soaking is it
Okay.
whole house?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
so good tonight. Husk. But then I thought it was great that I was a key part of the process. Now I realized it just kept me out of everyone's way. What I really loved was that after we had dinner, all of the cousins would put on holiday skits. Oops. Go back. Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry about that, guys.
you're good.
It happens. Okay. What I really loved about, we did that one. Okay. Back then, I thought it was great. Okay. That I was a key part of the success. Now I realized it just kept me out of everyone's way. What I really loved was that after we had dinner, all of the cousins would put on holiday skits and have dance competitions. We got to stay up late, go to church with grandma. She would help me get ready, and I would wear a dab of her perfume. Sure, I smell like an old lady, but it made me feel special. What I really loved was that I always got a new to me dress for this occasion, and the shoes that clicked when I walked. This drove my brother crazy. She's making them make that noise on purpose, he whined. No, I'm not, I'd say, taking exaggerated steps. What I really loved was that after church, Abuela would convince my dad to take us to dinner as a treat for being so good, even if we weren't. Abuela was awesome. Then I remembered this would be my first Christmas without her. I watched my mom try not to cry, all because she couldn't buy us new toys. It was right at that moment that I remembered Ruth and her family. My siblings didn't seem phased. My brother wanted to go back to his video game, and my sister asked if we could still help make Christmas dinner. We were sure that there would still be food, which was sufficient for her. Family meeting adjourned. Later that evening, I found my mom alone in our living room. She had pulled all the Christmas boxes and fake tree by herself. She was playing my favorite Christmas album. I could tell she had been crying. I sat down next to her, not knowing what to say. Sitting between us was our well-beloved copy of The Night Before Christmas. On top of the book were Ruth's ducks, lying on their sides. I picked them up and dangled them from my finger. Can I hang the ducks this year, Mom? I asked. My mom's eyes filled with tears as she nodded. Ruth's ducks never went back into the Christmas decoration boxes again. They hung in my mom's kitchen the 11 months they were not on her Christmas tree. Every year, I had to remind her that one day when I had my own family, she would have to part with the ducks. After all, Ruth gave them to me. And so that is, I think, the end.
Yep, that's the end.
And so, oh
That's
my
both.
goodness. So we have the backstory, and I have lots of comments. So I'm gonna get those comments real quick. Let me
I
get
want
those
to show
comments.
these are the real ducks.
Oh, hold on. Let me make the screen bigger so they can see. Just 1 second. Let me stop sharing and share the tick. So those are the ducks.
So they live in this box now because they've really been through it. You can see the strings no longer attached. And then when you purchase the book, you get a replica ornament of Ruth's ducks for your Christmas tree to hang on your Christmas tree to be thankful of what you have and remember people who have less.
Oh my God.
This side, yeah. But those are the original ones. They live in this box now because they've been through it.
Oh my goodness. So Floyd says, hey y'all, he was my guest last week. And Kelsey's the girl that connected me to you.
Oh,
She
hi,
said,
Kelsey.
yay, love it. And Kelsey is one heck of a drawer. I'm just saying, if you ever need illustrator, she can really
Okay,
draw.
good to know.
Kimber Knight, hi, Dr. Knight. Hi, Michelle. I hope your grandbaby's watching. Kelsey Thibodeau says she loves this. Amanda says hi. I'm sure it's one of her kids. And Michelle says, I love that. I can see Michelle definitely adopting this tradition with the ducks. So, a couple of questions.
Sure.
And I know on TikTok, there's many questions if you went on TikTok, but have you found Ruth?
We have not found Ruth. So there's a whole thing about it. So Ruth was homeschooled, and I was only in the program, which I've given a lot of details enough to find her, but I've kept a couple things private. But growing up, I looked for her as years went on, and once I wrote the story in college. And then with the help of social media and with like I said, the fundraising for the book, there were some viral videos in Northwest Indiana. So I did grow up in Northwest Indiana. I went to Warren G. Harding Elementary School, which is where Flick gets his tongue stuck to the flagpole in the Christmas Story. That's where I was going when I got the ducks. Like, how crazy is that? But Ruth was homeschooled. I've had friends that looked in like yearbooks later because I moved to see if there were any Ruths that eventually went to high school where we went. And ultimately, she hasn't come forward. The program no longer exists. The corporate office didn't hold the private records. The only place that held the records was the actual church, which hasn't existed for quite some time. So I feel that I've exhausted a lot of my resources. There are also a lot of people who feel that I shouldn't, and I agree with this. I don't want to hunt her down. I think that manifestation, I think that the story is doing pretty well, and I think that eventually the story will reach her if it hasn't reached her already, and if she recognizes that it's actually her, that she can make that decision whether or not she'll come forward. And that's why I've kept some of those details private, so that, I mean, I haven't seen this person since I was 8, so over 30 years. So yeah, we have not found her. And it says in the bonus content in the back, it does say that. It says that at the time of this publication, she had not come forward. So
I have more comments. Michelle said yes, she would. Pancho said, what a wonderful story of gratitude and appreciation. Thank you for sharing. Amanda's kids, I'm sure. And then Karen says hello. Or hi, I'm sorry. She says hi. So, what is your most favorite part of the book? What is the part of the book that you just go, this is the part I absolutely love? Which one is it?
There are a couple. I find that I always internally, because I really remember the exact moment that I wrote about, clicking the shoes that drove my brother crazy, like walking into church, because I knew it drove him crazy. And I remember being like, no, I'm not, and kind of stomping along. And it kind of takes me back. The parts with my siblings, and I think that's the whole point, is it kind of the memories of Christmases past and family traditions and things like that, it just fills my heart time and time again. And then at the end, I always think about the ducks and sitting on our little copy, which I also really want to obtain from my mom, because we still have that it was a free Hallmark copy in 1985, I believe, of The Night Before Christmas. And I love it. And it's gold leafing. And so that part too resonates with me. But I think the sibling parts, the parts where I talk about my siblings and being with them, really resonates with me.
And then someone said, what age group is the book? What age group? Because she said it's not for children. I was like, it's definitely for children.
Well, I kind of went back and forth on this. And I think that this goes back to that social media aspect, where you put yourself susceptible. And it's interesting, even today, I saw people in my comments having a debate about it, where somebody was like, oh, my 5-year-old didn't follow it. And somebody else was like, my 5-year-old totally followed it. So I think reading and comprehension is one part, right? But I genuinely say, maybe 6 or 7 when they can really sit for it. But I don't view this story as something that not that your kids couldn't find it and pick it up, but I really view it more as an event. And it became an event with my friends and family before it became an actual book. And in my mind, eventually I want to get a little pocket in the back of the book, or actually it would probably be in the front, because now somebody gave me another idea for the back of the book, where the ornament was inside. But in my mind, you sit down as a group, and maybe an adult or somebody with, great reading skills reads through it, and it's an event, and you talk about it, and then you hang the ducks. So I think the listening and comprehension skills really are based off of the age group. I think a 2 or 3-year-old, it's not, it's going to be lost on. But there's also been a little bit of a campaign to do a junior version that's just a lot lighter for younger kids. And I could maybe even keep the same illustrations, but just literally cut down on the text. So I'm thinking about doing that. I have a lot on my plate right now, but some people have mentioned that. So we'll see what comes in the future.
Absolutely love that. Well, this is a great book. Really, really good. And it was easy to read. I thoroughly enjoyed every little bit. My favorite part of the book, I must say, was
Thank
the
you.
intensity.
You read it so well. That was the first time
First time you've heard it read?
I think we're in a yeah.
Absolutely love that. So I have to say this. My favorite part of the book had to be when you realized what you did, that you had given away something that you really wanted to get something better. And it turned out to be much better than you could have ever imagined. How many of those kids that did a gift exchange still have theirs? I mean, your gift was actually truly the gift that kept on giving.
Yeah, and now I protect them in this case. They've gone from in the garbage to in this little case because my kid wouldn't stop touching them when she was little. And I was like, I've got to do something, because they're just really, you can see even like it's just really fallen apart. So yeah, isn't that something, the journey that the ducks have had?
I love that. Amanda Baldwin says it's such a great message and lesson to talk about with your kiddos. And with that being said, how can they buy the book?
So because I'm a self-published author right now, it's only available in the United States, and it's only available either through my website, which is ruthsducks.com. Every book comes with the ornament. You can get it in hardcover or paperback, or you can also just purchase the ornament. I do actually offer a digital version of the book for free if there's a family that really can't afford it, but would still like to share the message with their kids or their family. And people can reach out to me individually through any of my platforms. There is also a buy one donate one, which isn't an official program now, but looking to next year, I'm going to make it an official program. There are so many people who have come forward and bought books for families who maybe couldn't afford them, as you see sometimes in the comments. And then I find people, and if they feel very genuine, I offer free books. So that's it on the website. And if you're on TikTok, which I have some viewers here, the thing about TikTok is they opened a shop. So you can shop inside the app. And what's interesting is that they offer a lot of platform discounts, and it doesn't affect me. I think because they're rolling out this new program. So people are getting it for much cheaper with coupons that they offer, and I still get paid the same. So I encourage people, if you can do it that way and save a little, it's absolutely no difference to me. So those are the two ways as of right now. Or if you find it in person, which you'd have to be living where I live, because it's just some of my local stores that are starting to carry it.
That's perfect. And I put the links up there. I put the first link for the digital copy, which is $5. And if there's a struggling family, like I said, reach out to her. But I did put the where you can go and order the books. And so the book is currently, there's a softback and a hardback. Digital is $5. The hardback is how much?
The hardcover is 30 and the paperback is 25. Right now on TikTok, I did a flash deal. So they're 20 and 25. The paperback is 20, the hardcover 25. I also want to say that I do take a portion of the proceeds and I use it to help get Christmas gifts to kids in need. I'm not an official charity as of right now, but I will be, or I will be doing it through official charities. There's somebody on TikTok that I helped, and then I'm helping some people in my own community, which is sometimes hard to talk about because I think some of the people I'm helping follow me and don't know that potentially that I'm helping them. But there is a good cause behind it, and I hope as the years go on and hopefully the book gets bigger, there's more and more that I can do for my community and outside of my community with some of the proceeds.
Love that. So I will say, Amanda, I don't know if she's still on here, but she's on the PTA of a school. So if someone were interested in doing something for a school, or what could they do? Because it's Christmas. This is your time to shine. What is a way that schools can help you now with your book, getting that word out?
So yeah,
Amanda's here.
I'm navigating this. It's kind of interesting. So I keep a very low profile about the social media thing. I do not tell people. But I did post something to my about my local post office, and now my community knows what's going on, and I am getting lots of requests to get on my calendar for next year. So I think, I am not opposed to virtual visits. I've also thought about maybe something where I could host like a bigger virtual visit. But all of that information is kind of pending. And eventually in my own community, what I hope to do is kind of have similar to what I was saying about the buyback program, where I could potentially show the book in school, send everybody home with a free digital copy, because again, there are just families who might not be able to afford it. And that's one of the themes. I want to make the story affordable to families. And then people who could afford it could go in and purchase the book, and then I could use portions of the proceeds from that school. So like you'd have a code, and then if you purchase the book, that money goes right back into the school to help those families. Because as you know, a lot of time teachers and principals end up helping some families around the holidays, and a lot of times that comes out of their own money. And so I want to try to figure that out. But that said, if there's any educators out there that have ideas, my inbox is open, because I'm really just navigating this whole space on my own. And I really do want to do good with the book. I really do want to help other people. I'm already planning a Tamale Day book next year, another Christmas book about the Tamale Day tradition in my family. And so I really do hope that through publishing these books, I can bring community together and help communities not only within mine, but then eventually outside of my community. So if anybody has ideas, just come at me with them, because I'm all ears.
So that is Amanda, and as a former principal, I have to plug this in right now. If I were still a principal, because I'm always an educator, if I was still in principal and I had met you while I was at a school, I would do something for children to help your cause. And so if kids wanted to collect gifts for kids that was shipped, things like that. I know Amanda says she loves that idea. They're always giving back in school districts, but would helping to buy kids gifts and sending them to you, would that work?
Me specifically?
Yes.
I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say no. I don't know, but it's definitely something to consider. There's another creator on TikTok who does something like that, and she has a company foundation called Operation Joy. And I plugged her a little bit this year because she's had some help from bigger creators. I'm not that big, but she's had some bigger creators help her in her mission, and I love that. And she does like a wish list, and it's really interesting to see how far that goes and how many people just from all around. I mean, the country, the world. I don't know where all of her donations come from. So it's something I'm definitely open to. Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
So Amanda says she has so many ideas. So I'll put you two in touch with one another.
Love that. Thank
And
you.
Mr. Pancho, Ava, Ari, and Pop Pop are signing off.
Okay,
And
guys.
this is our time to sign off. So if I had to do a takeaway from your book, this is my favorite part because authors always have the message they want people to get. And then I have my message, which is so far. So my message that I got from the book was the best things in life aren't always wrapped beautifully. They're not. And that's what I got from just looking past the exterior. I think a lot of times, if I saw somebody with wadded newspaper, I would have been, but so many times we miss out. We do because of the way something looks. So that's my takeaway. Moving this day forward, whether it's a human or a thing, I will not make a judgment, which I'm really good about not doing, but I will make a special effort to not judge just by appearance because of your book. That's my takeaway.
Oh, I
But
love
what
that.
do you want? What do you want everyone to take away from your book?
You know, it's really interesting because I get a lot of requests to write things and dedicate things, or people send me messages as I've been sending out these books because I send out every book goes through my hands. And somebody wanted their granddaughter to know that kindness is free. The kindness is free. And that has really stuck with me. You know, I always say to remember what you have and remember there's people who have less and think about others, but that kindness is free has really stuck with me this week. So that's my answer tonight. That kindness is free.
I absolutely love that. That's perfect. So I always leave them with this one statement. And if you have a little statement that you use all the time, I use this every single Tuesday and probably every day. If nobody else tells you, Dr. George loves you. And Jeanette said, this is a legacy book. Congrats. And I'm not excited. Did I say that right? Probably not.
I think so. Yeah.
So, what are your parting words, Michele?
I don't really have any. I think kindness matters and kindness is free. I think those would be my parting words.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us for Tucked In Tuesdays. I was very excited about the book. I hope Brayson, when he watches this later, if he's watching it now, Brayson, this Tucked In Tuesdays is dedicated to you because of your sweet mom connecting me with Michele. And so she said, yes, I did. Thank you. I'm on a roll tonight. So, guys, we're going to sign off next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central. We will have the mayor of Beaumont, Texas, Mr. Roy West Jr., here on Tucked In Tuesdays. And of course, he'll be reading a book about a city, not necessarily Beaumont, but how we take care of a city. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Michele, keep writing. You have a gift. Keep sharing it with the world.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so guys, go and buy the book, click on the links, buy the books, and she will sign them. If you put a note in it, she will sign what you put in the note. So, guys, good night. I'll see you. And Michele, just hold on one second. I'll see you guys next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central. And good night, TikTok.
Okay, I'm going to log out of here.